When the veil thins and the unseen becomes visible, it's a sign your consciousness is expanding.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you started seeing things that others couldn't? Imagine living in a town where this is the everyday reality for its inhabitants. This isn't just about ghosts or apparitions. It's about figures that only some can see, sparking intrigue and fear in equal measure. What starts as a few isolated incidents soon grows into a phenomenon that grips the entire community. Our story begins in a quaint town where life is uneventful until these mysterious sightings start to occur. In this town, life had always been governed by routine and predictability until the sudden disruptions caused by these sightings. Initially dismissed as pranks or the result of overactive imaginations, the occurrences begin to increase in frequency and intensity. People from various walks of life report encounters with figures that appear real, yet remain unseen by others nearby. One might be walking home on a foggy evening, the streets quiet except for the occasional bark in the distance. As they turn a corner, they encounter a figure, translucent and barely perceptible, yet unmistakably there. This figure doesn't speak, it simply exists, fading away as suddenly as it appeared. This segment explores the visceral reactions to such an encounter, the initial disbelief, the pulse-quickening fear, and the overwhelming need to find an explanation. The community's reaction is mixed. Some are skeptical, dismissing the accounts as stress or a trick of the light. Others feel a chill down their spine, wondering if they might be next. As more people come forward with their experiences, a pattern begins to emerge. The sightings are not random. They often occur at dusk and always when the person is alone. This revelation adds a layer of urgency to the unfolding events. The townspeople start to ask themselves and each other what these appearances might signify. Is there something or someone trying to communicate with them? The increasing public interest and concern lead to an informal gathering at a local meeting place. Here, residents share their experiences, each account adding to the tapestry of mystery enveloping their town. The atmosphere is thick with apprehension and curiosity as each person recounts their encounter. One describes seeing a figure at the edge of their vision while walking their dog in the early morning hours. Another talks about an indistinct shape that seemed to mirror their movements as they sat reading in their backyard. Despite the differences in detail, the similarities in these stories are striking. The figures are described as fleeting and ephemeral, disappearing before any interaction can occur. This sharing session serves as a pivotal moment in the community. It transforms the phenomenon from a series of isolated events into a shared community issue. The testimonies are not just about fear. They also reflect a collective yearning for answers and understanding. The need to make sense of the inexplicable binds the community, prompting a shift from individual confusion to collective investigation. Through these dialogues, the community begins to piece together a rough timeline and geography of the sightings. They note that none of the figures have been seen in the bustling town center, but seem to prefer the quieter, more isolated parts of town. The discussions turn to theories. Some propose that these might be manifestations of historical figures tied to the town's past, while others wonder if they are experiencing a mass hallucination influenced by environmental or psychological factors. In documenting these testimonies, the narrative takes on a deeper dimension. It's no longer just about what is being seen, but how the act of seeing and not seeing shapes individual and collective realities. The fear of the unknown and the human instinct to seek explanations come to the fore, driving the town's inhabitants to look not only around them, but also within, to confront the boundaries of their understanding and tolerance of the mysterious. As the town grapples with the growing mystery and communal anxiety heightens, a deep dive into the local history emerges as a crucial next step. The townspeople start to look back through old town records, diaries, and newspapers, hoping to find any clue that might shed light on these recent phenomena. During this investigation, a pattern begins to surface from the dusty pages of history. It appears that every few decades, similar phenomena were recorded, with the same eerie encounters documented by past generations. These historical sightings were often accompanied by significant local events, such as the founding of the town, major battles nearby, or periods of great change and upheaval. This discovery brings a new dimension to the narrative, suggesting that the phenomena may not just be random occurrences, but could be deeply tied to the town itself. Perhaps, These figures are not just manifestations of fear, but are somehow echoes of the town's past, emerging in times of collective anxiety or change. The exploration of history does more than just provide clues about the nature of the sightings. It also serves as a mirror reflecting the current turmoil within the town. The parallel drawn between past and present elevates the community's understanding of the phenomenon, turning fear into fascination and skepticism into a more scholarly curiosity. As word of the historical parallel spreads, the atmosphere in the town shifts from one of wary curiosity to one of heightened alert. With each passing day, more sightings are reported, and the pattern of their appearances becomes harder to ignore. The figures no longer appear solely at the fringes of perception. They are now seen more clearly, more frequently, and by more people. This escalation not only stirs up more fear, but also begins to divide the community. Some see this as a sign that something significant, possibly catastrophic, is about to happen, linking their theory to the historical events that coincided with previous sightings. Others argue that the stress of the situation is exacerbating the collective hysteria, leading to more sightings and more fear in a self-perpetuating cycle. Amidst this growing tension, the responsibility falls on those who are trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy. Meetings are held to discuss the best way forward. Should the town seek external help, or is this something they need to understand and resolve within their own community? The debates are intense, reflecting the broader dilemma of how to deal with fear of the unknown, confront it or avoid it. During one such meeting, a pivotal moment occurs when a respected elder of the community speaks up. They urge the town to view these events not just as a harbinger of doom, but as an opportunity to understand more about their heritage and the cycles of their collective life. This perspective challenges the community to shift their focus from fear to reflection, pondering what lessons they might learn from their ancestors who faced these phenomena before. As the sightings increase and the town's historical context deepens the mystery rather than dispels it, the community decides to invite a team of scientists and paranormal researchers to offer their perspectives and expertise. This marks a new chapter in the town's journey toward understanding the phenomenon. The team arrives equipped with various instruments and theories, ready to observe, measure, and perhaps explain what has so far eluded comprehension. They set up equipment in areas where sightings have been most frequent, hoping to capture evidence of these elusive figures on camera or audio. Their presence brings a mixture of skepticism and hope to the townspeople, some of whom are desperate for answers, while others fear what such investigations might uncover. As the scientific inquiry unfolds, initial results are inconclusive. Instruments pick up unusual readings, temperature drops, electromagnetic fluctuations, but nothing that conclusively proves the presence of the figures. The scientists maintain a clinical detachment, focusing on data and observable phenomena, which contrasts sharply with the emotional and somewhat subjective experiences of the townspeople. This divergence creates a new tension between empirical science and personal experience. In community meetings, debates arise about the validity of personal experiences versus scientific evidence. This division underscores a larger theme, the clash between modern rationalism and traditional anecdotal knowledge. The scientists urge patience, suggesting that understanding such complex phenomena could take time, much to the frustration of some community members who seek immediate answers and relief from their fear. As the scientific investigation continues with no clear answers, one night changes everything. During a particularly active night of sightings, a breakthrough occurs, not through the scientists' instruments, but through a direct confrontation between a town resident and one of the figures. This encounter happens unexpectedly when, during a late evening, one individual, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, directly approaches one of the figures that appeared near the outskirts of the town. To their astonishment, the figure doesn't vanish as it had for others in the past. Instead, it lingers, allowing a rare moment of interaction. The figure, though still unclear and wavering, seems to react to the presence of the individual, mirroring their movements and gestures. It's a moment of intense emotional and psychological impact, suggesting that these figures might be more than mere projections or hallucinations. They could be sentient, or at least reactive to human emotions and presence. This encounter quickly becomes central to the ongoing narrative. The individual shares their experience, describing the figure not as frightening, but rather as melancholic and lost, sparking a town-wide discussion about the nature of these beings. Could they be spirits tied to the town's land and history, manifestations of collective memory and emotion, rather than something to fear? This revelation shifts the town's approach from one of fear to one of empathy and curiosity. Discussions turn to how these figures might be acknowledged or even helped, rather than feared. This change is significant, marking a collective shift in perception from seeing the figures as threats to viewing them as part of their community's fabric, albeit a mysterious part. Following the profound encounter that shifted the town's perspective, there emerges a collective desire to integrate this new understanding into their daily lives. The community starts to reflect on how they can coexist with these figures, leading to a broader discussion about acceptance and the healing of old wounds. In a pivotal community meeting, a plan is formulated to acknowledge the presence of these figures more openly, attempting to engage with them through various peaceful means. Some suggest holding a ceremony to honor the town's history and the memories that may be tied to these manifestations. Others propose creating public spaces where people can share their experiences and encounters without fear of disbelief or ridicule. The scientific team, while initially focused on empirical data, begins to appreciate the subjective and emotional components of the phenomenon. They shift their research towards a more holistic approach, considering psychological and sociological angles in their study. This integration of scientific and experiential methods enriches the investigation, providing a more nuanced understanding of the sightings. As these efforts continue, the sightings gradually begin to lose their initial menace, transforming instead into moments of reflection and connection. People report feeling a sense of peace and closure after encounters, suggesting that the figures might be manifestations of unresolved communal emotions that are being progressively acknowledged and addressed. This resolution phase not only brings the community closer, but also helps them to see the figures not as threats, but as catalysts for confronting and healing from past traumas. It's a profound transformation from fear to acceptance, marked by a significant reduction in the frequency and intensity of the sightings. Months have passed since the community began its journey towards understanding and integrating the mysterious figures into their collective narrative. The town has not only adapted, but grown from the experience, developing a richer sense of community and a deeper connection to their history. In the epilogue, we reflect on the long-term effects of this transformative experience. The sightings have become less frequent, but are now met with respect and curiosity rather than fear. The community has established annual events to commemorate the phenomenon, which not only celebrate the town's unique experience, but also attract visitors and researchers interested in the paranormal and historical aspects of the sightings. The scientific team publishes their findings, highlighting the blend of scientific and anecdotal evidence that paints a complex picture of the phenomena. The town is praised for its innovative approach to dealing with the unexplained, becoming a model for other communities, experiencing similar mysteries. As the narrative closes, the focus broadens from the local to the universal, suggesting that the town's experience holds lessons for all humanity. The key takeaway is the power of community, understanding, and empathy in facing the unknown. This story of a small town that turned fear into acceptance and confusion into connection offers hope and inspiration, suggesting that perhaps the greatest mysteries can serve as bridges to deeper human understanding and unity. As the town adapts to its new relationship with the mysterious figures, the narrative shifts to focus on the ways individuals and the community at large incorporate this understanding into their everyday lives. The acceptance of the figures becomes a symbol of the town's resilience and ability to transform fear into something constructive. The community initiates a series of workshops and talks that involve historians, psychologists, and spiritual leaders. These sessions are designed to help the townspeople process their experiences and to provide them with tools to manage any future encounters. The aim is to foster a collective resilience that acknowledges the past while looking forward to a more informed future. School curriculums are adjusted to include discussions about local history and the importance of folklore and oral traditions, using the sightings as a case study. This educational initiative helps the younger generation understand the cultural significance of the phenomena, rooting them more deeply in the community's unique identity. Meanwhile, local artists begin to depict the figures in various forms of art, capturing the evolution of public perception from fear to acceptance. These artworks contribute to normalizing the presence of the figures, embedding them into the cultural fabric of the town. Art exhibitions, both local and regional, start to feature these works, attracting broader attention and fostering a dialogue about the intersection of art, history, and the paranormal. Over time, the town becomes known for its progressive approach to dealing with unexplained phenomena. The story of the sightings and the community's response is featured in various media outlets, inspiring other towns and communities to reconsider their approach to their own local mysteries. Documentaries and case studies are developed, focusing on the town's successful integration of history, science, and folklore to create a cohesive community response. These narratives highlight the town's journey from initial panic to a harmonious resolution, serving as a blueprint for cultural and psychological adaptation to extraordinary circumstances. The influence of the town's experience extends beyond its borders, encouraging a broader discussion about the value of community solidarity and open-mindedness in facing the unknown. It prompts a wider acceptance of the paranormal as a legitimate field of study, in cultural and historical contexts, influencing academic and research perspectives worldwide. Leaders and key figures from the town are invited to speak at conferences and seminars, sharing their insights and the practical steps they took to transform fear into a source of strength and unity. Their stories underline the power of community-led initiatives in creating meaningful change, and the importance of preserving and respecting local traditions and narratives. Following the widespread recognition of their unique approach to the mysterious figures, the town continues to cultivate an environment where learning and engagement thrive. Public forums and educational programs become a staple, not only to preserve the narrative of the figures, but also to explore broader themes of history, psychology, and the supernatural. Local schools incorporate more comprehensive programs that encourage students to explore these themes creatively. Students engage in projects that involve researching the town's history, interviewing older residents, and creating multimedia presentations that blend folklore with factual history. This educational initiative ensures that the knowledge and lessons learned from the experience with the figures are passed down, keeping the community's collective memory alive. Additionally, the town library sets up a dedicated section for research on paranormal phenomena, including books, documentaries, and first-hand accounts from the townspeople. This resource center becomes a hub for enthusiasts and scholars alike, providing a solid foundation for ongoing education and exploration. To celebrate their journey and share their experiences with a broader audience, the town initiates an annual festival. This event is designed to commemorate the first sighting of the figures and to celebrate the unity and strength the town displayed in the face of the unknown. The festival includes art exhibits, theatrical reenactments of key events, and guest speakers who discuss various aspects of the paranormal, cultural history, and community resilience.